welcome back to KC's Nation. So, I'm going to do a little in-depth review of the Sven Saw, which I have in a case I made, and I'll show you a little in-depth close-up of how I made this and what it's made of and what it consists of. But this is the Sven Saw, so stay tuned. Alright, so this is the Sven Saw, and I'll show you the sheath or the carrying case I kind of made for it a little later on in the video. We'll show you it in action right now. And as you can see, it worked alright in the video when I went out on the day trip. Sorry, you're getting a little bit of glare from the light. Basically, this is it. It's self-contained, you know. The only thing you really have to worry about is this wing nut. Alright, it's the only thing that has any importance in terms of losing. If you lose the wing nut, you're going to be hard up on the saw. Wing nut's the most important part and is also the most easiest to lose. But if you're careful and if you have devised a little setup like I did, you won't ever lose it. But simply, if you didn't see in the video how it went together, you take this, take the wing nut off, and once you take it off, set it aside, put it in your pocket. Just don't lose it. You know, keep it in eye shot. Then you take, and once the wing nut's gone, you can take and pull the saw free from the handle. Alright, and then in here, this is your back bar for the saw, and inside is the blade. Alright, and the blade is gonna go into this, or the bar for the blade, the back bar, is gonna go in this section right here. Alright, so, and it doesn't matter which way because they put holes on both sides that are ambidextrous. This hole here, there isn't one over here, and the only reason being is this was devised for like a lanyard of some sort. When I got the saw, it came with a little piece of leather string to go in, and I didn't use it. Actually, I lost it as soon as I opened it. But, so we put the bar in here. And it takes a little bit of finicking to get the bolt in, so you have to slide this out. These two have to kind of go in at the same time. And once you get them in, you have to shake it a couple times and get it all straight. You'll have that stick out about maybe 1/4 of an inch, and the threads of the bolt will stick out. At this point, you take the wing nut and you put it on here. Hopefully the camera will focus. You just tighten it down so it's good and tight. The one thing I have noticed is that if you don't pay attention and don't straighten this blade out after you've tightened it, it will cut sideways, and you can see how the blade is actually sitting in there at an angle. So usually what I'll do is I'll loosen it just a little bit, back it off, and it'll straighten it out. Now it is a little bit loose, but it's a buck saw, so cutting with a buck saw is a little different than cutting with a folding saw. You kind of have to pay attention to control your strokes. With a folding saw, it's kind of easy to control where that blade's cutting at, but with this, you kind of have to kind of keep it straight. And if it starts to go off to one side, you have to kind of or you have to kind of react to it cutting that way and force it to go the other way. But I mean, if you're processing firewood, it doesn't matter. As long as it gets cut and you can split it later on, it shouldn't be an issue. So I've learned that the easiest way of using this saw is the two-handed. So one hand here and one hand down here. You can one-hand it this way and one-hand it this way. I found that I was busting my knuckles a little bit with my hand up here, and it I'm counteracting, or I'm going against what I said in the previous day trip video, the where you'd keep your hand down here or keep it up here. I can't remember exactly. I'll look back and maybe put an annotation on top of it to say that, hey, this was the wrong idea. But the best way to cut really is to use both hands, and just be careful and watch where your hands are going. To break this down, loosen the wing nut. The wing nut is the most important part. It holds all of this together in open form and closed form. So take the wing nut off, put it aside, put it where you can't lose it. You just pull. I like to pull from this end here and hold the blade, and you basically just pull the blade out. You fold it back into its holder, more or less, and then you take and you slide this end. The end with the two holes for the bar is going to be at the top. So you take and slide this down inside here, and there's a little stopper right here that's been pressed into the metal, and you have to kind of jiggle it a little bit to get the bolt to come out the bottom. But once you get the bolt to come out the bottom, you basically just put the wing nut back on, and you don't have to tighten it on there really tight, just so as much as you don't lose it. You can, I wish I had like a flat washer or a cap or something to go on the end of that for durability of the material, because the washer, let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There we go. As you can see, there's no washer there, and the way the wing nut is it's tapered a little bit. So if you crank that down hard enough, you're going to flare out the metal there. Now, it's not going to cause much of an issue because this is the bottom of the handle. This is part of where it doesn't really matter for you when you're cutting, because that's where the bolt is. But for, you know, tool maintenance and upkeep, it'd be nice just to have something on the end there to keep it from marring out or pushing out the sides of that aluminum bar. So I keep it kind of loose, kind of tight. I kind of find a sweet spot in there to where it sits nice and flat. And I like to have it flat with the bar and the wings of the nut, just so it'll fit in my little sling here a little better. So, onto the sling. What I have here are basically just two pieces of leather that I took. This one I folded over and sewed the sides up on with a all-stitch awl, or easy stitch awl. And basically I just punched holes down one side, or down both sides, and I stitched it up. I'm not the best leather crafter, but I kind of like the rough look of the things I make. You know, it gives it a little bit of character. Same with this side. Punched some holes and then stitched it up. And then I basically just cut a slit on both sides for this nylon webbing to run through. And then on this side, the only difference I did make is that this side was a little smaller, so it would fit the other side. This side, this smaller end cap is meant to go over this side, and this larger one is meant to go over here where the wing nut is. And this one here, I took two pieces of leather, cut them the same shape, and sewed them together. And I hadn't brandished it yet and gone into the full cleanup on it, but as far as a working piece, it's done for now. But I've got a little bit of touching up to do to make it look a little nicer. And then, like the other one before, I cut a slit in the top and ran some nylon webbing through it. And then I took some Fastex buckles and basically just worked them in and you can see where I sewed the webbing together. I didn't have quite enough. I reused an old nylon strap I had made for something, so I had to take a shorter piece and kind of just connect it in. That's why the black, I guess retainer, I don't know what you would call these, but this little black strap retainer is on here, because this is actually part of another strap that I added onto. But it works. I was able to utilize the 5 or 6 extra inches I got from the strap, and I was able to utilize the strap retainer to keep the access on this, because these right here, they sit loose, and you can see where it doubled over. So basically the way this works is, and I know I'm running on a little bit, is this end goes in here, slides in, and then this end here goes into here, and slides in. And then you just take and cinch it down, get everything taut, and there you go. And I'll show you later on when I do my Alice pack video how I have this attached to the side of my pack. But I have a clip that I've utilized, one of the webbings on the Alice pack that clips it and holds it on. And also I usually run this back strap through some of the other webbing in the Alice. So right now it's by itself, and if I needed to, I could throw this in anything, the truck, I could throw it in the, you know, a sleeping bag, or just, I can have it really anywhere, and I don't have to worry about that wing nut coming off. I don't have to worry about it getting beaten around. I don't have to worry about the sharp edges that it has up here messing something up in whatever I put it in. So anyhow, so this has been Casey's Nation. Keep an eye out for more videos. I'm kind of getting back in the swing of making them and whatnot. This has been the Sven Saw. Hope you learned how to make maybe one of these little sheath covers. If not, you know, I might consider making some and putting them on maybe eBay or Etsy or something like that. They're pretty simple to make, and they're easy for me to get the materials for. So let me know in the comments if y'all want one, if you want me to take and try to build one, or maybe try to put a template together, and I'll let y'all know. So yeah, so y'all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.